Well, I would have sent you a better one. Anyways, no worries.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. We have very active lifestyles. It's not all wandering the countryside aimlessly or scaring passing motorists. And we all love a good cup of joe. And there's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. Bold, robust, delicious. It's coffee that can wake the dead. With over a dozen different roasts and flavors, Deadly Grounds can satisfy the most finicky of coffee addicts. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Persons under 18 will not be admitted.
I'm choosing to ignore the cuts and bumps and bruises. I'm cruising through these haters, leave them looking stupid. They foolish if they think they'll ever hear my conclusion. I'm through with all these part-timers and their excuses. I'm bruising eagles left and right every time I do this. I'm shooting for the top, no I'll never settle where you did. The future's in my hands, my grip will never lose it. My crew is ready to obtain the absolution, removing any doubt that we was ever fooling.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another kick-ass episode of Still Toking with. You know who I am. I know who you are. I think. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. But anyway, with that, let's bring in the man who's super sparkly tonight.
Super sparkly tonight. How are you, dear boy?
I am well, and yourself, sir?
You know, every time you ask me how I am, I'm always so happy to be here on the air with you guys that the answer is always great. I can't wait to bring on our co-host and our guest and have some fun.
Right. And speaking of the other co-host, the guy that's usually in my mind somewhere.
I thought I'd leave that alone.
I figured, yeah, I didn't get there was no smart ass comments, no.
I was trying to send it to my mind instead of saying something, but I guess I don't have that power anymore.
No, you lost.
It must be the shirt.
Must be.
I'm not quite sure, but yeah, I'm excited actually. I didn't know too much about our guest until I started doing some research, and I was quite impressed with me for doing the research. Let's just bring her right in. Let's welcome Jennifer Cihi.
Hey guys, hi.
I said that
Happy
right?
Wednesday.
I did say that correctly, right?
You
Yeah,
did.
I did.
You did.
Okay.
You actually said it correctly. I'm actually half impressed.
Well, I mean, you have to 50% of the time I'll fuck with the names.
Right?
You know
Hard
what I mean?
pronunciations.
Well, I mean, it's only 4 letters. There was not too many options.
I told you it could have been Cihi.
Which
There's
many
no-
people have called me that before.
Or
I
Cihi.
just had Kai-Hai.
That's the one they always say.
That Kai-Hai? Yeah.
That's the
Nice.
one.
So, first thing I want to say is, well, when I was doing my research, I listened to the 4 songs that I could find. You have a fabulous voice.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely fabulous. I was
What-
pleasantly surprised.
What did you hear the stuff from Sailor Moon or other stuff online? What'd you find?
I found there were 2 songs from Sailor Moon, and then there was now you're gonna quiz me. I'll be there. That one there, and there was one other one.
Yeah,
There were
maybe
4 of
something.
them.
Yeah, something from maybe City Hunter, and then it's probably the Sailor Moon songs. But
Yeah,
I was on.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was
They
other.
were on
should-
YouTube. There was 4 of them on YouTube, and I know
There's-
one was from 14 years ago. So I'm just assuming your voice got better or worse. I don't know.
No, only better. Rewind and bite your tongue never works.
Well,
now,
do you keep your throat lubricated?
right now, I'm lubricating it right now.
I did it before we started.
Right into the dumpster.
I am going to apologize in advance.
I apologize in advance too.
Jennifer, you and I have something in common is we both got started in this business as kids.
Yes.
I mean, doing the national tour, the LA tour of Annie.
Yeah. California, LA and San Francisco. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, those parts are very hard on those little girls. It's a lot of work. Was it a wonderful experience for you, or was it just a lot of work?
No, I didn't think it was work at all. I was so happy to be there. I was only in the show for 6 months because I had a growth spot, and I got too tall for the role because, we were supposed to be, young girls, and our Daddy Warbucks was quite short. So I was 3 months in San Francisco and 3 months in LA. It stayed in LA for a lot longer.
Mhm.
Who is your Daddy Warbucks?
His name was Keen Curtis,
Oh, yes.
which he died within the last 10 years, I believe. And he was a stage actor, did some on-camera stuff as well, but mostly Broadway and, theater. But yeah, he was short. And so I got too tall and started looking too mature a little too quickly. So they had to cut me out. I was so sad. I mean, I loved every second of it. I hear that that's not always every other kid's experience in Annie, though, because there's been multiple tours. And there's also a documentary that has been done about 10 years ago. And I felt like most of the girls that were on the documentary, some of them were like kind of traumatized by the experience. I did not have that at all.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I knew all the original girls, being, an actor in New York at the time when Annie opened. And this subject, and we'll keep it just for 1 minute, is hardly ever discussed. Hollywood and film, there are at least some protections for youngsters who are working. If
Right.
you're doing Broadway or off Broadway, or you're in a touring company, unless you've got good parents, there's no one there really protecting anyone. And some of those girls grew up to be very angry at the experience.
Yes, and we were all there together, and we all seemed to be having a good time. I mean, that was in 1978, so that's so long ago, and I don't remember anything negative happening. But I have some other friends that were in the show. I think Patricia Patz, you guys did a
Yeah.
recent interview with.
Mhm.
She was our Annie, and she does have some other memories of it, just because maybe, she was the lead. She was Annie, so a lot more pressure on her for that, of all. So it was just a blast. I mean, it was, if my career ended there, I would have been happy. Thankfully, it didn't end there. But yeah, it was an amazing, like, jump start lily pad to get to go and do many other TV film. I've probably done every part of the business now, I think, in the 5 decades that I've been doing this crazy
Right.
shit.
But actually, you didn't actually start with Annie. You actually started with leading roles in like The Wizard of Oz and Bye Bye Birdie, from what I read.
Like that in local community theater, children's theater, yeah.
Right, right.
But first professional equity show I did was actually Annie, and I was about, I think I was in the 6th grade. I had to leave my 6th grade class to do the show. I remember that was really exciting because everybody in San Jose, California, I was like a star. I got in this big show, and they were all excited. She's going off to be in a show. That was a big deal. Right now, that wouldn't be as much of a big deal because there's so much, kids in TV shows and theater and film. But that was a big deal to be from small town San Jose, California, and to get that role. Another girlfriend of mine, her name was Paula Benedetti. She actually got another orphan to be in the show with us, because we all went down there to audition in LA from our theater group, because we had this amazing director, John P. Healy, that took like 10 really amazing young girls to go down and do the open call. And 2 of us from San Jose got the roles. So that was pretty amazing when there was like 5,000 girls coming to that open call, little girls. 2 of us came.
Theater as a kid once. Hated it.
You what? Say that again?
I did theater as a kid once. I hated it. Sucked.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I loved it.
No, I hated it.
Every
I
moment
would
on
have did
stage.
gymnastics instead.
Gymnastics. Okay.
Yeah, it was a lot more fun.
Jennifer, what was your favorite song in that wonderful score?
Oh gosh, in Annie, I think maybe the song that Annie sang, "Maybe Far Away." The song "Maybe," but I mean, of course, the best song that we as the orphans did was "Smile," because we had that big dance number and the kick line. We were on the Merv Griffin show with that, and we did this whole cool thing on the Jerry Lewis Telethon, because back in the 70s, Annie was such a big deal, and we got a lot of press doing a lot of different really cool shows that unless you're over 45, you wouldn't even know of, Merv Griffin. No one would.
And both of those videos are available on YouTube in case you don't know that.
Yeah, I know that I have footage of the Merv Griffin show, but it's been a while since I've seen the Jerry Lewis Telethon. What a thrill that was. We just crazy. We just were. I was thinking, I thought I won the lotto, the theater lotto for a kid. Every little girl at that time that was in theater or wanted to act or sing or dance knew it's like Wicked now. Think about Wicked. Every girl singer knows every note of Wicked. That was the Wicked of the 70s. That's such a big show now, but everybody wanted to be in that show. So what a thrill and an honor to have started my professional career back in 1978 when the dinosaurs ruled the earth.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
we all do, my boy. We all do.
Ditto. I got to clarify something because I can't stand when people do this.
Okay.
I was reading that I read that you're an avid skier and swimmer. What kind of skiing? What kind of skiing?
Snow skiing.
Okay. I want people to clarify whether it's snow skiing or water skiing.
Okay. That's very
all the time.
Really?
All the time.
That's where you went with that, what you read there? See,
yes.
See, I read that too, but I want to know, do you still have a passion for poetry?
Yes, I'm a big writer, and I'm very into the spoken word, poetry. I'm not writing poems so much, but I'm definitely a writer. I do calligraphy. I write hundreds of cards and notes a year. I've gotten into songwriting. So that's a form of poetry. Yes, for sure. That's where my creativity, even before the singing came out. I think when I did Annie, I would write, I would write like my girlfriends back home in San Jose, like little letters, and we journaled in these little journals, Hello Kitty journals, right? And I still have that journal, and sometimes I read those and I'm laughing hysterically out loud at what the heck I was saying. It was so stupid. Today we went to lunch at McDonald's. It's like so dorky, but I wanted to document what my experience was, and now I'm rolling and crying and howling and laughter at how ridiculous it sounds, but it's kind of cool, I guess.
All of our friends out there who are watching us or listening have heard you sing. I don't think I can point to anyone who hasn't.
Right.
For just 2 words. Hot Pockets.
Yeah.
Everyone has heard that.
It's
Man,
crazy.
woman, and child. Everyone has heard that.
Now I want Hot Pockets. Damn it.
You want to hear the story, how that kind of came about?
That was my next question.
Okay, so when I lived in LA, way after I did, Annie, and went back and finished high school and all that, I moved to LA, of course, because I wanted to be in the arts and sing and dance and do all that fun stuff. And I had an agent, and I started doing jingles and got into a lot of recording stuff. I worked for Universal and Disney for many years, on and off, with different projects with them too. And I had an audition, and so Hot Pockets, everybody knew what Hot Pockets were, right? The food. I never really ate them, but that was like the food of every college kid, right? Hot Pockets. So I worked for a company called Noisy Neighbors, and that was the production, or the studio of the studio house that they did I did a lot of different projects with them, and it was a buyout. And so they offered me, this was early on in my career, my early 20s. So I was thinking, wow, this sounds pretty good for a day's worth of work, right? It literally ran for 20 years. And I was like, what an idiot. I signed my life away. I did renegotiate. Before I moved to Tennessee, I did another little, they shortened it just to the Hot Pockets. They wanted me to come in. And so, of course, I renegotiated, because all my friends that were big jingle singers that had national commercials, I did do a few nationals for Barbie, Ogilvy and Mather, if you know who that company is, that didn't run like that. I would have had 40 houses off of Hot Pockets. And it's funny because people always think, oh, you're a millionaire many times over. And I'm like, I wish.
Free Hot Pockets for life.
And it's actually not my favorite sounding jingle that I've sang, but everybody knows it. So anywhere I go, if I sing that or I say that I did that, they think that's so cool. It's funny.
Well, it's not bad to have that. I mean, just speaking for Jeffrey Mark, to have had anything where if I would just sing 2 words anywhere in the world, they'd know who that's just so fucking cool.
Right.
It was a fun gig, and Jim Gaffigan talked about it in one of his specials for a while. I don't know if
he did.
And he said something funny. My agent had reached out to him a while back and thought, would it be funny to play a funny joke on him? Because he talked about, who's the girl that sings that jingle, right? And it would be so funny. But he did that bit for a while, and then he moved on. And then it became even more famous because he mentioned it in his Netflix special. So I'm like, everybody talk about it. That's fine with me. It's funny. Who knows, where those things are going to go. So I'm grateful.
Right. So how many times have you signed a Hot Pockets package at a convention?
A few times. I had people dress up as Hot Pockets. And they were so cute. And I thought, oh my gosh, they really love those Hot Pockets. Many people, will bring the box. And I've signed quite a few. And it just makes me giggle. I'm amazed that people, they just know it's such a recognizable jingle. Like you said, no one doesn't know Hot Pockets. Everybody knows that. So it's played a gazillion times. Gazillion.
That's more famous than Where's the Beef?
I don't know about that. Maybe I may. Well, where's
so.
the
People don't even remember Where's the Beef anymore. But Hot Pockets is still happening.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, just recently they don't even play that tagline anymore because they've changed the commercials now. But it's still online. You can still find the original. When you want a hot meal without a big deal, what are you gonna pick? Hot Pockets, and it's a whole 30-second jingle. So it's still, you can find it on YouTube, of course, like every cool thing or non-cool thing on YouTube, you can find it.
Hey, Cass Elliot made a ton of money singing "Hurry On Down to Hardee's, where the burgers are charcoal broiled." She made more from that than some of her records.
Right. Isn't that crazy? Like I did a bunch of Barbie stuff in that same time frame. And some of my residual checks, I was like, wow, I wish all of my jingles were like that. But they ran for a much shorter time because they wanted to, to change it up. They didn't want, the audiences to get bored of this same, whatever. But yeah, I know it's amazing. There's lots of different artists that have sung jingles that, they made hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s off of. Now they don't have those long running jingles anymore. That's a thing of the past. And a lot of them are buyouts or non-union, you know that, right, Jeffrey?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's, kind of.
I'm offered non-union work all the time. And I go, nope.
Yeah, that's a struggle. I still have a lot of friends that live in LA, and it's like this weird struggle of like being able to work, but I don't know. I'm in SAG and after an equity and all that, but I did go on honorary withdrawal just because I'm not doing a lot of those projects anymore. So if I needed to, I could rejoin. But living in Nashville, it's very different kind of platform over here. I do so much live stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of live singing.
In looking at your background, there's another 2-word thing that I don't hear very much about, and hopefully you can educate us. Tokyo Disney.
Okay. Yeah. So Disney, I worked. That was the other big job, or the second big job I got after Annie. Went back to high school, finished that up, and before I moved to LA, I had a friend that did Tokyo Disneyland. So basically, I went to the open call. I was a blonde at the time. They love blondes over there. They did 30 years ago, and they love Americans. So they hired 30 to 40 different Americans to come, each contract, to go to Tokyo Disneyland. And they had many different shows, just like they do at Disney LA. Lots of stage shows. There's the Tomorrowland Terrace band that comes up out of the floor. That's still, I think, at Disney LA, by the way. I was booked on that first. So singing in the like the top 40 band. We were called Hot Tracks, TRAX. It was such a dorky name, Hot Tracks. And so we had a Japanese band, and then there was 2 of us, me and another girl, and we were the frontmen of the band. We did 8 shows a day, 5 days a week. That was great singing training for me. And so I did that for like 8 months, and they had a little cool they called it American Village, and all the other Americans lived together in these kind of cool condos, right? And we had little mopeds, and we wreaked havoc. I was only 19 years old when I went there. Oh my gosh, never am I to be trusted to go to any foreign country without being 21, because I was out of control.
Wow. Did you learn any Japanese?
No one knows this story. I almost got thrown in jail because I was too drunk in a public place once. Shh, don't tell anybody. No one's listening, right?
No, nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Just 1 million or 2. It's nobody.
So, I mean, Jeffrey keeps bringing up these two words. I'm going to bring up 2 words. Sailor Moon.
Yes. A lot of 2 words. You're right. I didn't even think of it that way.
2 words.
A lot of 2 words. Sailor Moon. Yes. So anime is such a iconic phenomenon now, as it used to be that just like the gamers and all the people that liked that genre were into anime. Now it's like everybody's into anime. It has really come full circle.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up on Looney Tunes and Scooby-Doo.
Yep.
That's probably where we were all watching that stuff, right?
Yep.
Speed Racer, right? So yeah, I booked that at the same time that I did the Hot Pockets and all that good Disney and all that stuff. So I got the job, auditioned again. My agent called me for this animated series. And when I lived in Tokyo Disneyland, we thought that Japanese anime was so weird and squeaky voices and the big eyes. And it was a little bit like risque. It was kind of young girls with older men. We were like, that's freaky. Okay. So nowadays that would be nothing. But back in the 80s, we thought that was weird. So I got the job, and they hadn't even voiced really the speaking of Sailor Moon and all their scouts. That was in a totally different studio. So I did all the music for that, and was just in someone's home studio for a couple months because there was 3 albums they did for the project, and it hadn't even been released yet. So again, another one kind of signed my life away situation. It was early on in my career trying to build my resume, and it was a good pay, but I should have 5 houses from all the sales of all the stuff. But doing the conventions, that's the silver lining, is getting to do all those really fun conventions.
Right.
You still do those, right? You still out there on the road?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I just had 3. And I have another one this weekend. So I had 3 in a row. That's unusual that there's been 4 in a row like that. But it just seems like it's just crazy. There's so many anime.
Where are you going to be this weekend? Give it a plug.
So, South Bend Anime Fest. South Bend.
So, folks, if you're in that area, get off your ass, get off your couch, go see Jennifer. Bring the Hot Pockets with you.
Yeah, bring your box of Hot Pockets. Or just your own Hot Pocket. I might sign that too.
I am so tempted, and I'm not gonna.
I was too. I was just like, nope, stop. It is 18 plus, but that's okay.
We're being quite good. I think we're not going off the rails yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet. We have a half a show left to do, honey. Wait. Just hang out and wait a minute here.
Right. I'm sure one of the Jeffs will bring us off the rails. What
moved you to move you? Why did you leave Southern California for Tennessee?
Yeah, so I was also on another TV show on Nickelodeon called Roundhouse.
Yes, you were.
Was a really super cool project I did. And after all that, I always was into live performing and singing in bands, big horn bands, and I wanted to be an artist years ago, and that just wasn't supposed to be the lane I was going down. It didn't quite happen for me. But after I was in this girl group, I teamed up with another girl who was my best friend for many, many years, and she was a country songwriter, and so we were in this duo together. And I was flying back and forth between LA and Nashville, and we started getting a lot of meetings and such. And I thought, you know what? I want to move there because I'd been going back and forth for like 2 or 3 years. And I loved Nashville. So I felt like I had kind of done everything I was supposed to do in LA. So I took the move in 21 years ago, and we ended up not getting a record deal, and that's fine. It didn't work out. And then I was kind of a big fish in a small pond when I got here because there wasn't a lot of pop singers. It was all country back then, or bluegrass, right? And
right.
That really wasn't my lane. I could kind of, in a duo, I could kind of sound like that. And I did a lot of work. I sang on a lot of albums here and did a lot of song demos for people when I first got here. And I just loved it. You can't afford, even 20 years ago, I couldn't afford to buy a house in LA. And so I was like, you can buy a beautiful ranch here for a third of, not now, but back then you could. Right. So I was like, this is the right move for me. So I kind of got plugged into a lot of different cool things at the perfect timing. So, and I never want to go back to LA. I never want to move there. I like to visit, but LA is, LA.
Okay. Yeah. That's one way of putting it.
I don't know anything about LA. All I've seen is the airport.
Wait, what cities are you guys all in? What cities are y'all in?
We're south of Boston, me and Ben. Ben's in Plymouth,
okay.
Mass, America's hometown. I'm in Halifax.
Gotcha.
And I'm in Palm Springs.
Palm Springs. Okay, so you know about LA, Jeff.
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, I moved here for the same reason you moved to Nashville, because it's so much less expensive to live here. Right. And now I couldn't begin to move back to LA. It's so expensive.
And you wouldn't want to. I feel like, I talk about this. I do still have quite a few people that live in LA. And we have this conversation all the time. If we were just starting our careers at 20 in the 2025, we wouldn't have the kind of opportunity we had in the 80s and 90s. Like I
No.
was in LA in that perfect sweet spot. I booked so many cool gigs. My girlfriends did tons of movies. It was cheap to live there. It felt safe. I had really, really good memories of LA. When I go back there now to visit, I'm like, just feels like a different vibration. Everybody, all my voiceover friends live there, like, we all want out, but we can't right now. So I don't know. It's just changed a lot. So I'm so grateful that I had the opportunities I did, back in the 90s, the early 90s. So I didn't move here till like 2002. Yeah.
Now, you're a very talented lady,
Thank you.
and you have a very pretty face
Oh, thank you.
and a magnificent rack.
Was wondering how he was going to get that out. I really was.
I was waiting.
It's
It's
all
all-
in the bra. It's just the bra, my friend.
It's comedy timing, boys. You have to know when to hold back and when to give.
You gotta
but I
know when
know-
to show 'em.
I know nothing about your personal life. What would you like us to know about your personal life? I mean, children or spouses or girlfriends or boyfriends or
Yeah, so I've never been married. Can you believe that? Never been married. I kind of chose not to be married, actually. So I feel like a little bit like Jennifer Coolidge. I've seen her talk about how she's never been married and she doesn't have kids and she feels like her life is so awesome. Like most of all my friends are married with kids. I'm like an aunt ma to all my nieces and nephews. I love being that. But my career was just happening so much that I never slowed down enough. And to tell you the truth, I was a little bit of a man eater. So I had a huge situations, don't tell anybody. But I would get bored. I would get so bored of one guy for too long. So, and
Yes.
and then when I did want to settle down, I was like, ooh, it's much harder in your 40s and 50s because then there's no good ones left. It's like all those dating apps. It's crazy. Like they should just put them all together and call it what's left. This is what you go stuck with. Right? So, I never married, no kids, but I have tons of friends and do all kinds of crazy things with my crazy wild girlfriends. But yeah, I just didn't do that. And I'm not regretful at all. I'm not regretful at all that I didn't have kids. It's fine. I don't feel like every woman has to go down that road. I feel like I'm super nurturing with all my nieces and nephews and have sisters with kids and stuff. So I like that I can leave and I don't have to pay for any weddings or college or have them calling me at 3 a.m. and they're like, got a DUI or something. And I have to worry about them. I don't want to worry all that. I'm so glad I don't have to worry. I'm not knocking having kids. It just wasn't for me. That's all.
Do you go through a lot of batteries?
My gosh. You know what?
Well, they're rechargeable by USB today, so.
Batteries. It just plugs into the wall. You don't need batteries. No, I mean, I have some
Oh my god.
my life, but not no one I'm really wanting to be with like full time. I like having my own house. They have their own house. It's all good.
You like your space.
I like I'm yeah, and I'm I get bored, so I don't know. If it works out that I meet someone that I just want to be with and we're together but living separately, that sounds good. Like someone in another state would be good for me. Just got to see him maybe once or twice.
when the batteries wear out.
Anyways, we're getting hot, crazy now.
Because you don't have to put on makeup for batteries.
You don't. No, you do not. And I do have a dog. I have a little doggy. This is my third dog. He's my little companion, and he goes with me lots of places. And he's my
What's his
third
name?
Chihuahua. His name is Leonardo, like the Mutant Ninja Turtles, Leo. And so I love animals. I've had many different types of animals, and so That's fine for me. They don't talk back. They're easy to take care of. They're potty trained, and they're not whining to you too much, you know?
What's the strangest pet you've had?
I had a goat when I first moved here that lived in my apartment in a crate, a little
You
mini goat. It was
you
very
shouldn't
cute.
tell people that.
Now, nothing was
goat?
weird. A goat, it was called a pygmy goat with the little horns.
Oh, the pygmies.
Popular
Okay.
now.
And I'm asking an honest question. Was the goat housebroken?
No, but I put it in a crate, but I would walk it on a leash like a dog. When I first moved here, I went to the Tennessee State Fair and I fell in love with these goats. And the cowboy said, "Ma'am, you can buy that goat for $40. You want it?" And I said, "Yes, I would like that goat." I didn't know anything about raising it. First of all, they're herding animals. You can't just have one. They don't know what to do. It was starving itself. So then I had a friend who had a beautiful piece of property, and I gave the goat to her property, and then it disappeared. And I think a coyote got it. That is not the good part of the story. Oh, I did have chickens that also lived in my bathtub for about 6 months. Little chickens. I didn't realize you had to feed them a lot either, so I had to give them to a farm. Like, I think I lived on a farm in another lifetime because I tried to have all these farm animals in apartments. And so I learned my lesson. Just get the dog now. The dog is easy. No one's going to you're not going to get in trouble having a goat in your apartment in a crate or chickens that live in your bathtub and stink.
Was there? I was about to ask you a question, and I thought, well, it's a good thing she hasn't got children because she wouldn't feed them and she wouldn't walk them, and it'd be fine.
Yeah. That's yeah.
Well, she would bathe them because they'd be in the tub.
Yeah, they'd be in the tub. I don't know. I'm crazy. The Tennessee State Fair. Again, I found the baby chicks for $1 a piece. So I got the grand idea in a box, a little shoe box, and I brought 4 of them home. And they lived in my bathtub for about 6 months. And then my friend said, "Jennifer, those are starting to stink up your house." Because I lived in, it wasn't that it was messy. I cleaned them all the time, but they're not supposed to live in your bathtub of your apartment. Right? So.
No, chickens do not produce cologne.
No. They're stinky, and it was horrible. But they were cute when they were babies, little baby chickie, all furry, cute, little yellow chicks. And then I could pet them. I would sit and pet them. I know this sounds crazy, y'all. I sound like a crazy loon, but I did get them a good home. They went to a farm, and they lived happy. Well, they're probably gone now, but they did live happily ever after.
Now they live with Purdue.
Yeah. I didn't feed them enough, so they didn't get fat enough. No. I was like, just give them a little bit of the. I went to the Tractor Supply. You guys got Tractor Supply over there?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I would go to the Tractor Supply and pick up this bag of feed, and I would just give them like this little cute little bowl. They're supposed to peck and eat that food all day long. I learned this way after the fact. I'm crazy. I do crazy things, but I've simmered down now. In my 50s, I've kind of simmered down. I've simmered. If you believe that.
I was going to ask you before I made the bad joke about culturally going from Southern California to Tennessee. What was it like for you? And then I heard you say, y'all, she's acclimated.
Well, like I said, I went back and forth for many years, 2 or 3 years, 3 years, I think. And so I was already saying y'all before I moved here. And I think because I visited so much and my girlfriend was from here, I just loved it. I think in some other lifetime, I owned a big farmhouse with a big wraparound porch. I feel more at home here than I did in LA. And I do own a house here on the lake, on a beautiful lake. It's just a little cute little ranch style house that I bought for nothing 10 years ago. Thank God. Thank you, Jesus, for that. And you can't get that now. Nashville's like LA now. Like, we have horrible traffic. But yeah, I didn't mind it at all. It was like a great adventure. And so I feel like this is my final resting spot. You know what I mean?
All righty. So we're going to go back to the whole 2-word things again, because it seems to be the theme tonight.
Yeah.
So, lipstick and earrings.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. That's really odd. I never put all this together. So, Yes, so I want to talk about lipstick and earrings. So I'll tell a cute little story because people seem to be moved by this. Facebook is a brilliant way to connect people that you haven't seen in a long time from high school or whatever, right?
Mhm.
A couple years ago, I was scrolling on Facebook and I see a video, like a Facebook Live of a girlfriend I went to high school with. And she's talking about this foundation she had started for one of her best friend. Her name was Jane, and she was it's called Jane Sparkle, and she was needing people to donate earrings and lipsticks because she had died of cancer, and so she started this whole foundation called Jane Sparkle. And once a year, her and all her crazy cute gal pals get together, put together these little special like gift bags, and they take them to women that are getting infusion at cancer centers. So that this project has grown and grown and like really taken on legs. But about 4 years ago, when I first saw her video, I was like so moved by the story that was she was talking about on her Facebook Live. I called her, hadn't talked to her since 1984. And I was just going to reach out because I'm a jewelry maker. I make all this crazy jewelry, everything I'm wearing,
Yeah.
my jewelry. I love jewelry. And so I said, let me make some jewelry or earrings to donate for your lipstick and earrings day. And she says, great. And then for some reason, I said, you know what? I'd like to write like a theme song or like just a beautiful song for Jane's foundation, for Jane Sparkle. And she's like, what? Because she hadn't seen me since 1984. And I told her I'm still in the business. So I don't know what, maybe I'm not really a songwriter by trade, but I thought I want to write a song about it. So anyways, long story short, fast forward, I lassoed a girlfriend of mine that teaches at Berkeley School of Music as a songwriter professor who had gone through her own cancer journey and is well and doing great now. Thank you. And so I got her to write the song with me, and it's just really, really, really grown. So this is the CD, Lipstick and Earrings, and this is, I don't know if you can see this, but that's Jane Sparkle, and the information is on the back. But anyways, the song, we wrote it in a half hour in Boston. She lives in Boston.
Mhm.
And
That's where Berkeley. Yep.
Berkeley School of Music.
Yep.
But she lives in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And so we wrote this song in like a half hour, and it just seemed like everything kind of fell into place because this song was meant to be recorded and made. So I've done a video with it, and really passionate about cancer survivors, celebrating women with cancer. We've all lost someone with cancer. So Lipstick and Earrings is the title of the song. So we got it, recorded. And so we put this QR code in this little card goes into the gift packages every year now, so that the women that get the cool little package, they get to hear that song. And it's a song of hope and just a beautiful ballad. And so I'm really passionate about that. My mom died of cancer, and so I just want us all to, the title is Lipstick and Earrings, but it's the chorus says you're beautiful. So no matter if you have no hair or you're going through this horrible, losing weight, and it's just cancer treatment is horrible.
Mhm.
We all know someone who's gone through that. So
Yep.
you do not feel yourself. You feel like you lose your beauty. So the song is near and dear to me, and I'm kind of promoting that now, and I'm just proud of it, and I think it's been very helpful. And I just launched it. I just sang at the Frist museum here. I did a big Sailor Moon event here in March, and we launched the video, and I've launched it on Facebook. And so I don't know what's going to happen with it. If nothing happens, but people just get to hear it and be moved by it and be encouraged by it, that's great. That's awesome.
Can our friends out there buy a copy to listen to?
Yeah. So so they can. And also
And where would they go to do that?
So they can go to my Insta page, Jennifer Cihi, just Jennifer Cihi, my Instagram page.
So, and just for everybody watching or listening to this later on, or even watching it again later on, just check the show notes up above or down below, because all Jennifer's information is there, including her Instagram page. So, buy a copy.
Yeah. And also there's a QR code. If you don't want the CD, I'll give the QR code too. So no one has a CD in their car anymore. Most people don't, but I do have a CD copy of it as well. So whatever they want, they can have that. And the money is also to some.
Is it out on YouTube or anything like that?
So I'm working on that right now. Working on that. That's like a little bit more of a. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are kind of in the works with the song. So it takes a minute to get that all going, as you know.
Yeah.
We just finished it a couple months ago. So yeah. So excited about that, and just want to celebrate people that have dealt with that and encourage people, because it's hard to go through that journey of that.
And it's hard to be there while somebody else is going through it.
Yes.
Yes. And I have a friend right now who's challenged right now with her journey of it. And so I'm with her a lot. And so, yeah, it's just, it'll take it out of you. And you got to be so strong. Bed nails, we all know someone who has either gotten through it or is going to go through it, or we have lost people and they've passed. So
changing the subject, if you don't mind, because I'm about to cry and I really don't want to. Can people buy your jewelry?
Yes. So Instagram again. I do have a website called Spark and Sparkle, and that's just funny because that was before Jane Sparkle came out. But I make candles and all kinds. I'm a very creative person. I make all kinds of crazy stuff. So Spark and Sparkle is a website that has not gone live yet, but everybody that buys my stuff, you can just go to Instagram, Jennifer Cihi, and say, hey, we want to see some of your stuff. I'm not doing it full time. I think when I slow down from doing the Sailor Moon thing, I'm really going to go more into the whole jewelry thing. I do a lot of custom pieces for people, and I just love vintage. I do all this vintage, like rosary inspired with crosses and some stones and pearls. And grass doesn't grow under my feet. I get bored. So I just learn how to make things. So Instagram.
I love the sparkle and I love jewelry. So
well, yes. I need to send you some cool stuff.
Except I'm Jewish, so you have to leave out the crosses.
I know my stuff is crossy. I just love the crosses, but I have all kinds of stuff. So we'll talk, and I'll send you some.
Talk because I will happily wear it on a red carpet and say, "Oh, you like this? This is Jennifer Cihi work." Because we got to help each other, right?
Yes, we have to encourage and cheerlead and help each other. Yes, 1000%. I'm big into that one for sure.
Absolutely.
I'm going to reach back into your childhood again.
Okay.
And the boys kind of know why I'm skirting around this. For those of you, and Jennifer knows too, I lost two dear friends 3 days apart to cancer this week, and my partner died of it 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. And the subject is a little painful for me right now. And then on the show I was on last night for 2 hours talking about Elaine Ballas and Jay North, and Kathy Garber was on, and Kathy hasn't told anyone, but her husband is in stage 4 cancer, and she got like a little nervous breakdown on television last night. It hit her so hard that she couldn't talk. So you need to get this song to the people who are suffering and who need to be lifted by Jennifer's talent. And if I keep doing this, I'm going to start crying. So in your youth, you did one of my favorite shows, Bye Bye Birdie. Were you just one of the kids in Telephone Time, or did you have a larger part?
I played Kim McAfee.
Oh, you were the star. Okay, gotcha. The female star there.
It was children's musical theater. So we had like an adult cast and a kid cast. So yeah, that was probably in 1976 or 75. I was in that show.
Because I knew the composers very well. I worked with them because I was a part of Bring Back Birdie on Broadway. And the connection there is very important in my life and my professional life. And my late partner starred in that when he was starting his career in community theater. So it's an important show for Jeffrey Mark.
Excellent.
It's very different from the movie. People think the whole thing is about Kim because they rewrote the film for Anne Margaret.
Right. Yeah, of course.
But the show is very different. And I think not that Annie wasn't wonderful in the film. She's a friend. She's wonderful. But as a show, as a story, it's the Broadway version is better.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, that I was a kid. I was probably like 8 when I did that show. And then of course I loved watching the movie with Anne. I adore Anne Margaret. I love everything she puts her finger on. She's brilliant.
Yes, she
Um,
is.
she's just so wonderful. But yeah, the show is very different, and there's a lot of different. They don't do in the movie. There's definitely some of the songs aren't in the movie that are in the Broadway show, right? Yeah,
So you got to sing One Boy?
I did. I did. Gosh, I mean, wow, a million years ago. But that was a really fun. Like when preparing to be in the music business. Of course, I feel like when fans ask me, how what should I do to what's the first thing I need to do to learn about music or singing, whatever, I said, get into musical theater, because that is such a great base, or that everything launches from that, I feel, right? Don't you agree, Jeffrey?
Absolutely. Well, anything you can learn. Those of us, especially who got started as kids,
Yeah.
you have to be a sponge and be
Yeah.
able just to absorb everything you see and hear and do. And you learn what to do. You also learn what not to do. And that helps to grow you. And then the rest of it is perseverance and ambition. Because you can have all the talent in the world, but if you haven't got perseverance and ambition, you're going to get run over by a bunch of people who aren't as talented as you, but who do have it.
And you know what? Having a good personality and being kind, that is such a deal breaker, I think. If you're easy to work with and you're kind and you make other people laugh, I think that's like the common thread that has helped me all these years, because you can't take yourself too seriously ever. And you're only as good as your next big paycheck, your next big job, right? So
You have to take the work seriously.
yes.
If you take yourself seriously, you get lost.
Correct. And so, yeah, I mean, I worked on Friends years ago, and I was just an extra. My roommate was a stand-in for Jennifer Aniston. So I got to kind of see all parts of the business. And it was really interesting to see some of these big, big actresses. And I thought I was always gravitating towards the ones that were really kind and nice and funny, and not everybody is that way. And sometimes,
No.
they have to be kind of protected, and they have to be, I get it. I mean, the business, when you're that kind of fame, like Adele or, Whitney Houston, like everybody wants something from you, right? So that you have to be so grounded, I think, not to get in your own way. I'm just a little baby celebrity compared to some of these people, but I do have a nice resume, and
Size doesn't matter. I keep telling people that. And I think you're underestimating how big you are.
how wide I am. I'm going to grow wider by the second. No, I don't know. It's just, you just can't take it too seriously, and being a fun person to work with and being kind and making friends, that goes a long way. Jeffrey, you probably know all about that. Yes. I can tell you have that kind of persona too, and that kind of.
Well, I'm also doing this for 5 decades now, and you can't be a jerk and have a very long career. You just can't. You can have a short, brilliant career that'll fizzle out.
Right.
But if people don't want to work with you, you don't work.
Right. And so it's more fun if you're having fun. Everybody around you's having fun, no matter if you're in the chorus or the star.
Right.
If you're not having fun, don't do it.
Right.
We are all of us performers, and all of us writers, and all of us creators. You have, like I have, spent a great deal of time doing things in front of live audiences, and then a great deal of time doing things in studios in a more controlled environment without the people watching. Which one do you enjoy more?
Oh gosh, hands down, live performance. I don't like the studio because I feel like I'm so controlled. Like I need to see people and look in their eyes and sing to them. Like that, I'm all about that. Probably because I was raised up doing theater.
I need your energy. I need
Exactly.
Oftentimes I will stop a concert or a nightclub gig, whatever I'm doing, and say, I need your energy, folks. Come on, wake up. Stop,
Yeah.
have one less drink and look at me because I need you.
1000%. I don't do a ton of studio work anymore, and I don't miss it because I do so much live stuff. And the connect that you make, what makes a great performer is the audience needs to feel that you mean it and that you're authentic, right? And I don't think people are born with that. That is something that can be learned and through life experience of going through ups and downs. And when you sing a song or do a monologue, they have to feel it from you. And when you look them in the eye and you get their smile, or that you see them emotionally, shedding a tear over something, like that sparks our whole being. So yeah, I just, in the studio is okay, but I gotta be out there singing and just being, alive on the stage, alive.
While you were saying that, I was thinking to myself, I am never quite as alive as when I'm singing well, hopefully, in front of people, and that energy is going back and forth. I'm never quite that contented anywhere else.
1000%. I get it. I feel you. I understand. There's just, and people, I also coach some kids a lot, and they say, how do you get that? How do you get the authenticity? How do you get that emotion? And I talk a lot about that like people can see a performer that's just singing the lyrics and not feeling the emotion. They see it and they'll feel it if you're not in it, right? So that is a skill that, not everybody has that.
No, and I think as a singer, how do you not? I've actually gotten, not slammed, but had friends say, you're so emotional while you're singing. Why are you so emotional? Because the song is meant to convey something. And I'm not going to sing it well unless I'm conveying whatever the composer's and lyricists' intent was. And I'm also an actor. I won't walk through a part without feeling what it's about and having the emotions and sharing that with the camera or the audience. The singing is terribly personal. I've been singing a lot this week just to sing my sadness away.
Well, so this is I 1000% agree with you. And I also tell people music is therapy. So your grief right now, you're singing through, it's therapy for you. No matter what song it is, maybe you have certain songs you need to choose to get through that. That is your way of grieving, and that's your therapy. Music changes your mood instantly in whatever direction you need it to be. So that's a wonderful way for you to get it out. I totally understand that.
It took me It took me, after Joel died, 4 or 5 months before I could sing in public again. Because
you're emotional, you would be falling apart, right? Mm-hmm.
The first thing I did, I'm sorry, this is Jennifer's time, not mine. The first thing I did after he died was I sang for the Human Rights Council. I told the story of our life together, and I sang I Got Lost in His Arms, and I just barely made it, but the entire audience was crying, and some wonderful man donated $5,000 in his name, which made me very, very happy. Yeah.
See that? I don't care what anybody says. If you feel it and your audience feels it, that's what good music is. That's what a good singer is. There's so many artists that I could name. I like their voices, but I'm not moved by their singing. That doesn't mean I don't appreciate their beautiful talent. I need to feel their soul because I'm wired up like that. And you are too, Jeffrey. I feel it. Yeah.
Well, I'm a performer. I'm an entertainer.
Yeah.
And it's my job. It's your job. It's the boys, as Ben and Jeff are. You don't know how extraordinarily talented these two guys are. And we're here to make people happy, to entertain them. What are you laughing at, Ben? You're extraordinary. You know it. Own it.
Well, no, I mean, therapy comes in all forms, like you were saying, like music, and Jeff mentioned, well, you guys were saying that, he's into woodworking. He's actually a master craftsman.
He is woodworking. Wonderful.
But both Jeff and I are also poetry writers, and that was kind of like a lot of my therapy when I lost my father. and other things that happened in life, and the same with Jeff, to the point where he's actually won 4 Golden Poet Awards, and I've won 3. You know?
Wow.
So therapy comes in all forms, and we're getting close to time. So I know right now in Jeff's head, he's thinking about another 2-word thing that you're affiliated with, Jennifer, and that's a personal chef.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then you beat me again.
Well, I figured you were thinking about dinner because I was looking at the time.
You know.
So yeah, during COVID, my mom was a chef, a really amazing cook, and during COVID, everything stopped for everybody performing wise, and I had to just figure out how to make some money. Outside of getting a little bit of unemployment, because gig workers, everything stopped. So I had always been an entertainer and had people entertain at my house, cook a big meal, and I've always loved cooking. And so my neighbor here in Old Hickory Village, she convinced me to started chefing for our village, for our little neighborhood. So all during COVID, I cooked for our neighborhood, and my little 2-word company was called Village Eats, good food for good people, because we live in Old Hickory Village. Another 2-word thing. This is a definite theme here that you guys just may be aware of. So Village Eats, good for good people. So yeah, I still do a lot of cooking just for myself, and I do have a couple clients I still sort of cook for. But after COVID sort of simmered down, everybody got back to work, and so I was cooking for like 10 families, and that was a lot, but thank God I had that, because that helped me during COVID. And I delivered to them to the house, and everybody was happy because it was really good food that was low cal, but tasted really good. So
what's your favorite dish?
Oh
favorite
gosh,
dish
my favorite.
To make, not to eat.
Oh, to make? Oh my gosh. I have so many, but I love making Asian food, Asian inspired food. So noodle bowls and shrimp. I love to cook shrimp. Pork tenderloin. I love like blackened pork tenderloin with this drizzly mustard sauce with like cranberries and cherries. It's quite good. I don't know. I think that when you're a creative person in life, the world is your oyster. You just can keep learning more things, right? You guys are probably very wired up the same way. Once you have one creativity, I think that's just like our jumping board to go on to more creative stuff. So I want to learn it all, most of it, some of it.
It's funny because, I live my life where creativity wise, if somebody says, hey, can you make this for me? I'm like, sure. Well, have you ever made it before? No. Well, what makes you think you can do that? Well, there's nothing telling me I can't.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's how I live my life.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know. She had me at pork tenderloin. I mean, I'm like,
pork. I do a lot of stuff with pork. I'm not a meat eater very much. I chicken and fish and turkey. So I don't like steaks I'm not like them. Steaks aren't my thing. That like get the barbecue out, and that's a good, but I like to cook with fine ingredients. I'm kind of a foodie, like a gourmet-ishy, but good for you.
I'm doing Jewish cooking this weekend for Passover.
Oh yes. What are you making?
I am making chicken soup and matzo balls, chopped liver, homemade chopped liver, chicken soup also homemade.
Yeah.
I store-bought gefilte fish because I can't eat it.
Right.
And then a baked chicken and a potato kugel.
Oh yes.
Cream spinach, and then we have a coffee cake I've already made for Passover, and I bought macaroons. So we will have plenty to eat, and of course matzah.
That sounds like a very delicious cornucopia of delights over there.
Well, next time you're on the West Coast, Jennifer, I'll cook for you.
I would love to. I have a lot of Jewish friends and grew up in LA, where I sang in a Jewish band for a long time. So I know all about all those delicious dishes. So that's fun. So fun to do.
What is a Jewish band?
Oh, so I worked. I worked with this crazy guy in LA, and all we did was bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs. I would do 4 in a weekend sometimes. So I learned a lot of like all the Jewish, all that. There's lots of other songs that they, all the different songs for bar mitzvahs, bar mitzvahs. But anyways, yeah, I sang in this band. The guy was called David and Gila. I don't know if you know that name, but
I do. As a matter of
David
fact.
Jacobian. I worked for him for like 15 years when I was in LA, and was his main singer for a long time. And man, I felt like I became Jewish through osmosis because we did so many bar mitzvahs at bar mitzvahs.
Well, it's more fun to become Jewish by injection, but I appreciate that.
Oh my god.
And he's back.
Oh boy.
It's been a few years, but yes.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Oh boy. On that note.
No,
Right?
shoulders down.
Oh, so we are a little over time, which is fine by us, but we don't want to keep Jennifer all night. And I know Jeff is thinking about his dinner probably being cooked as we speak.
Yes.
So Jeffrey, Mark, any last questions for our guest?
No, actually, I think Jennifer, you're a doll and a half, and so much fun to be with. And get my address from the boys. I would love to wear some of your jewelry.
Yes,
I wear
something special.
I wear clip-on earrings,
I see that.
but I only wear one, like a pirate.
Pirate.
And I wear bracelets, and I don't know if you make.
Do you like brooches? Do you like brooches?
Yeah, sure.
Because I
As
have a
long as
lot of vintage brooches, neat vintage brooch, but I think you might really rock that look.
I will do my best, and anywhere I go, I will brag that I'm wearing Jennifer Cihi.
Oh my gosh, I would love it. That's so fun. Thank you.
My
You guys
pleasure.
are a blast. You're so fun to hang out with.
Aren't they? They're wonderful. Two wonderful men.
I'm curious, is any of your poetry published?
No, none of my poetry is.
Do you plan on publishing some?
Probably not, because I haven't really written any good poetry that I think is good enough to be published. Probably that's probably why. But
You cut yourself short. Yeah.
Well, I'm mostly putting it into a song form now. But yeah,
Lyric poetry. That's what I
Yeah.
call it. Okay.
Yeah.
But a lot of poets.
writing more music, and of course the song "Lipstick and Earrings" is, that's music is labor of love, and I'm a wordsmith. I love interesting words, and so I'm always writing, and so just filling your soul with all that good stuff. I think that's just.
I was hoping to be able to read a couple of them. That's all.
Oh gosh, yeah, you would be laughing hysterically if you read them. But you can listen to the songs. That's better.
Well,
Okay.
most poets are really critical about their poetry because a lot of them like that I wrote, I didn't think were that good, and somebody else sent them in and like they won an award, and I'm like, okay.
You guys are like real poets. I'm just singing and doodle. I'm doing some doodles over here.
Oh, we love doodles.
Doodles.
Doodles. That's
Doodles.
only one word, folks.
2 word on this one.
So, Jeff, any last questions? I know you must have one.
Well, I just asked that one, but I wanted
What was the
to, you've had a lot of different animals. I did not hear a cat involved in any of those animals.
I don't like cats.
You don't
Nope.
like cats.
Not a cat person.
Really? How come?
I don't like that their feet go into a litter box and then they want to jump up on my sink and get into my pots and pans. I don't like that.
Okay. Do you let your dog kiss you? Because they lick their balls.
No, I don't let him lick. First of all, he's clipped. He doesn't have any balls. So he's not licking his balls. He's fixed. But
Lick it is.
no, I don't
Okay.
like them to lick me. I'd love to hug him, but I don't want him licking. I don't take the peanut butter jar and let them my spoon, then I eat it too. I had a friend who did that once. She got worms, so I don't let them eat off my. There's rules here. There are some rules. Okay.
Okay.
Shit.
Okay.
Oh God.
Ben, do you have a last question?
I never have last questions. I just laugh through the whole show and look good. Isn't that
Oh.
my job?
Well, 50-50.
So, but again, to all our listeners and viewers, make sure you check the show notes up above or down below to get all the information you need for Jennifer and all her amazing things, from her CD to her jewelry to where she's going to be on tour. And that could be for the music or for a convention, you know? So with that, I'm going to, we'll go to Jennifer first. Where do you like interacting with your fans on the socials?
Yeah, so Instagram is my number one. I just got into TikTok, so you can find me on TikTok. And that's basically it. Facebook too, Jennifer Cihi on my Facebook as well. But that's more my personal page. So Instagram is my main thing. And TikTok, I just joined, so I'm trying to boost that up. I'm learning about all that stuff. So Instagram, Jennifer Cihi, and TikTok, Jennifer Cihi.
Okay, there you go, folks. Blow up the TikTok.
Blow it up.
Mr. Jeffrey Mark.
Yes.
Where do you like interacting with your fans?
Well, here.
And I don't mean on the couch.
I don't interact with my fans on my couch unless the money is right. I can be found here every week with you wonderful gentlemen. I can be found every week on Jeffrey Mark Plays Ella, my other podcast where I play her music and on a theme and give you insider stories about how the music was made. Jeffrey Mark on Facebook. There's a Jeffrey Mark Plays Ella group on Facebook. Jeffrey Mark Show Business on Instagram. And I'm always on some other show as a guest or singing someplace or making people laugh. So find me, because I have found you.
Yes, you have. Hef.
Yeah, don't look me up. You don't want to go there. Just go to stilltoken.com. You'll find everything you need to know about us, or go to Token with the Dead on Facebook. We have Instagram, TikTok. What else we got out there?
Twitter.
There's a bunch of shit. Twitter. I don't use any of that stuff.
Dude, we even got a MySpace. Come on.
I know we have a MySpace. You know.
Why?
Why not?
Because when we launched the novel and comic book series, I literally went to every fucking platform and locked down the name, just so nobody else could have it. Just because I'm a simpleton. So, you know, I mean, I do the Facebook. I mean, I have a personal Instagram. I don't even know how to get into it. You know, I mean, seriously, you know, that's where I'm at. I am on TikTok, but I'm one of those scrollers. I just look at the funny videos. That's all I do on TikTok, you know. So I'll be looking up Jennifer so I can see at least something that people with talent, you know what I mean? Because some of this stuff is out there. It's like, you know, the fucking monkeys running around with bananas and shit, throwing them at people. I mean, it's kind of funny, but chicken,
you know, I need some more serious kind of shit, you know.
Crazy. Crazy.
But in all seriousness, folks, we want to thank Jennifer for taking time out of her busy day to spend some time with us, and hopefully answered some questions that you didn't know, or maybe you did. And if you did, well, good for you.
Thanks for having me. This has been so much fun. I love y'all, and what a wonderful, wonderful thing you're doing here on this show. It's so fun. You guys are all so talented and wonderful hosts.
Thank you.
Well, y'all love her back. So there you go.
Right. Oh, somebody just popped in and said, "Say hi for me, Charlie Schlatter."
Hey, Charlie.
So there's a blast from the past. Charlie's a great guy. Had him on the show. You know, we got to connect, Charlie, because I want to get you on the New Year's Eve episode this year.
Yeah. No
excuses. I'm telling you way in advance.
and Jennifer, he says she's awesome.
Oh, he did. I'm sorry.
Charlie's crazy. I done some cons with him. He's a blast. He's so funny. Great guy.
He is. He's a great guy. With all that, folks, he says you got it. All right, cool.
That's it. Everybody has seen it now. He's going to be with us New Year's Eve. So I'll get with you, Charlie, at some point. To all our veterans and first responders, we want to thank you for doing what you do, so people like us can come up here and do what we do. Stay safe. We'll see you next week. We're out of here.
Bye, y'all.
Bless. Have a happy.
Bye. Thank you.
So come on.